Hello and welcome back. Today we're talking about IAM roles. Now let's say this is your account, and inside your account you have some resources. You have an S3 bucket, which is effectively a storage facility in S3, somewhere where you're storing your files. And you also have an EC2 instance. Now we haven't spoken about EC2 instances yet, but we'll definitely cover them in a lot of detail in the upcoming tutorials. And this is like a server. Just think of it as a server which might be hosting your website or application. And now you need this EC2 instance to be able to access this S3 bucket. For example, it might need to get some files from there for the operations that it's performing. Now, how do we accomplish this? Well, the correct way of doing this in AWS is to create an IAM role and attach a policy to that role. So you're not attaching the policy to the EC2 instance, you're attaching the policy which allows access to the S3 bucket. You're attaching that policy to the IAM role. And then the EC2 instance will assume this role whenever it needs access. So the way to think about IAM roles, it's a way to temporarily grant permissions necessary for access to AWS services and resources. So the EC2 instance will assume this role, and that's why it looks like a hat. It puts on the hat, it does what it needs, and then it takes off the hats. And that is the most secure and proper way of doing it. And it also has some advantages. Now, other resources can also access this role. Not anybody or absolutely any resource, whoever you specify inside the role. So inside the role, you'll be able to specify who can assume this role, who's allowed to put this hat on. So another EC2 instance might be able to access this role and also access this S3 bucket that way. Users in your account can access this assume this role, and that's a way for them to temporarily get permissions to access this bucket. Users in other AWS accounts can access this, assume this role, and applications can also assume this role. So there we go. IAM roles are in general a very versatile way for granting temporary permissions necessary to access AWS services and resources. Now make sure to check out these videos on the right or the full course in the description to continue your learning, and I look forward to seeing you there.